We are very pleased that this case is going forward. This will represent the first time that descendants of the massacre, victims of the massacre, anything having to do with the massacre will have an opportunity to prove their case in court. For years, the victims of the massacre and their descendants have been denied justice, and this opens a courtroom door for us to put on evidence and prove the case.
Mother Randall, 107 years old, Mother Fletcher, 107, about to turn 108 years old on May 10th, and her little brother, Uncle Red, who's 101 years old, they sat in that courtroom in the front row when we had our first oral argument that went for over 6 hours. They did not leave. They sat there and listened to every word. And when the judge ruled from the bench, which quite frankly shocked us, we were not expecting her to make a ruling from the bench, as much as we're still anxiously awaiting clarity on that ruling. That fact that she announced that she was denying the motions to dismiss in part, which means that this case goes forward. Uncle Red heard that. His hearing is good. Mother Fletcher, Mother Randall's hearing is not quite as good. He heard it. He broke down in tears immediately. It's the worst act of domestic terror in our country's history. This is about the harm that continued. That destruction continued for over 100 years. That hospital that was in North Tulsa, there's still no hospital in North Tulsa. It was never rebuilt. The land that belonged to Black landowners was taken by the city, never given back. The city still has possession of much of that land. So this is about the continued harm. It may have started with the massacre, but there has been ongoing harm to this community for over 100 years that has kept it from rebuilding despite how hard it has tried, and despite the resilience that this community has shown. And it's why they're still fighting for justice.
We want to abate the public nuisance. And what that means is to restore Greenwood to what it was like in 1921. It was a robust, vibrant community. It had a Black-owned hotel. It had a first-rate hospital. It had merchants all over the place. It was known as Black Wall Street. And so the relief we're asking is to have all that restored.